Hey everybody, Resident Loser Jeremy here, and today I want to talk about my top 10 plugins of 2020. I've got a couple in here that are really only for Pro Tools users, so I'm actually including two more, so you're getting my top 12, I guess? And stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to add a bonus plugin that I think has changed the way I mix more than any other plugin. Might be surprised at what it is. Here we go, my top 10, 13 plugins of 2020. Stick around, here we go. So just like any other list of what I like, these are going to be different from you, so let me start with a little bit of an explanation. I mainly work with other people and other people's music. These may not be the same thing if you're primarily using your DAW to write for yourself, demos or something like that. This is stuff that I've found that I use in every single session that is fast, very predictable, and always good in a number of different situations, whether that's heavy metal, jazz, country music, hip hop. These aren't like genre-specific plugins. These are in no particular order. I just tried to think of what I use every single session mixing 500 songs a year. Prices that I'm listing on here are as of the day I'm filming. These always fluctuate. Go look for deals. If they're full price now, there's always coupons. There are always deals to be had. Don't pay full price for a plugin unless you just absolutely have to. First one, Metrichalo channel strip. Right now this one is $179. This is my mainstay on vocals. Every time I do a vocal, I'm using Metrichalo on it. I think you'll use it in places where you see other people using different channel strips, like SSL is a very big one, very popular one. Metrichalo just does something different, and a lot of my choices here are to do something different. I don't want to fall into the aspect of sounding like everyone else. So Metrichalo was something that a lot of people around here weren't using, so I decided to, it's as simple as that. On top of that, the EQ sounds fantastic. It does some really cool stuff, especially on the top end. Very, very sensitive. You can push things around. The onboard compressor and limiter, though I don't use them all the time, are very, very good. Sometimes that compressor I like more than other compressors that I use. Check it out, Metrichalo. I guarantee if you pick it up, you will find some use for it. For me, that is vocals and keys, sometimes acoustic guitar. Synth, it's awesome. My second one is Soothe. I don't know how to describe this plugin other than no other plugin does what this does. Soothe has been out for a few years. Now they're on to Soothe 2, which at the moment is 199 euros, which is about 226 USD. It's kind of like the marriage between a multiband compressor and a dynamic EQ with a whole lot more points of reference. Now this comes with a warning. It will find those areas of a sound that you could spend so much time trying to dial in the right EQ and find those whistling frequencies. It'll take care of that for you. But if you push this thing too far, it really gets crazy. There's a point of diminishing returns with this plugin. That said, it is very much worth that price, and it is on every single mix that I do. Number 3, Melodyne. Melodyne is my tuning software of choice. There's a lot of different ways you can go, and a lot of different plugins that are kind of one-trick ponies. Melodyne for me does a whole lot. You can tune instruments that have multiple pitches playing at the same time, which in and of itself is really, really cool. But besides that, 90% of the time what I'm using it for is to tune vocals. I like it because it's incredibly transparent. I can get that auto-tuney sound if somebody wants it. Melodyne is one of those programs that grows with you. You can spend as little as $99 to start out. For a good tuning software, that's a really good price, and it can go all the way up to $699 for the Studio Edition, which right now I'm running Melodyne 4 Studio. They just came out with Melodyne 5. I haven't upgraded yet. I plan to. That just allows you, if you're tuning a lot of vocals, you can do everything within one window. It's just a lot of, it's more speed and ease, and there's a few extra added features. But that said, Melodyne can grow with you. Their upgrade prices are very, very good. They're very competitive. You don't need to jump straight to the $700 version of Melodyne. There is a cheaper version that can cover your bases. Check it out, Fab Filter Pro Q3. Now this, if you have watched any mixing tutorial on YouTube at this point, you've seen Pro Q3, I guarantee it. And there's a reason. It works. It's fast. It's transparent. Fab Filter has a really cool way of designing their plugins to get out of the way and allow you to do whatever you need to do. The list of features on Pro Q3 are way too long for me to cover in this video and get through all these plugins. Just like any of these plugins, honest, it is a little expensive, but it's an investment. I'm using this on every single session across tons of tracks in every session. If I know I can get very consistent results and use it on a single track, I can use it on the mix bus. There's a lot you can do with Pro Q3, and the visual feedback it gives you is extremely helpful. Not to mention the matching features, which I love. But Pro Q3, $179 or $89 if you upgrade from Pro Q2. The upgrade is definitely worth it. If you're sitting on Pro Q2 and you haven't made the jump, I did it after a long time, and I wish I'd done it sooner. Waves L1, who could not put this on a list? It's a down and dirty limiter. It's about as simple as it gets. A threshold, a ceiling, that's it. There's a couple other things on there, but who touches that with an L1? I don't. L1 is the limiter you reach for when you want a nasty limiter. If you want to chop the top off of something without having too many artifacts, unless you're getting crazy aggressive with it. If you told me I could use one limiter and you only gave me L1, I could mix a project with L1. I'm not saying it because it's my favorite one. It's a darn affordable limiter. It just gets the job done. Even when you have other ones you can reach for, and other limiters will have different characteristics. Personally, I think Ozone makes some of the best limiters on the market, and you'll pay for that. But L1 is just one of those really simple, really affordable ones. If you don't have a limiter, you need to get L1. I mean, come on. Now, right now, L1 is listed as $49.99. It always goes on sale. You could probably pick this up for $10, $20. Waves prices fluctuate like crazy. Be patient. Look at their prices. You will get a deal eventually. At the bottom of this page, you'll see something that I almost put on the list but didn't. And that's Waves C4, which is a multiband compressor. This thing is a utility knife as far as a multiband compressor goes, and I was up on the fence of whether to include the C4, and which is stupid cheap right now, maybe $29 on there, I don't remember, or the Fab Filter multiband. I mean, personally, I use Fab Filter multiband more just because of what I'm doing. And this is one of those cases where if you're a songwriter or if you're mixing other people's music, this could be a difference for you. I like Fab Filter multiband. It just has a whole lot of extra features that I can get into. And especially when I'm using it on something like the mix bus, I trust it a little more than the C4. That said, you could get it done with C4 just fine. And if you don't want to spend a lot of money, C4 is a fantastic option. My list, I'm going to include Fab Filter, but hey, we're talking about both of them, so there you go. RAUM, I don't know what to call this. RAUM, it's a reverb, Native Instruments. Native Instruments makes some pretty cool plugins for pretty cheap for what they're trying to accomplish. I'm going to call it RAUM because I don't know what else to say here. Their RAUM reverb, $49. This thing includes 3 different modules, and you can get some pretty crazy sounds. If you only had one reverb you were going to pick up, this one should be pretty high on your list. It's dirt cheap. 49 bucks for a really good reverb. You get some of these, you can get some of the crazy like vintage sounds, you can get some modern sounds, cool rooms, very small rooms, get some large arenas, you can get some churches, the canyon stuff, and then you also get like the affected things, like the sparkly reverbs that we all think of, the shimmer reverbs out there. You can accomplish that with this, and it also has some really cool MIDI functionality where you can grab and hold on certain instruments, and which is really cool in the mix. With this, I don't want to go into a lot of details here, but if any one of these grabs you, go check it out. Go search for this on other videos. Go check them out on their website. Download the trials of these. See if they're right for you. There's no time for me to go through this list exhaustively right here. RAUM, go check it out. Another one from Native Instruments, my favorite delay that I use, REPLIKA XT. Now this is $99, but this delay is very, very versatile. It can cover just about any type of delay sound that I want with this delay, and it's fast, it's very low as far as CPU needs go. Native Instruments seems to be really good at that. There's a lot of programmability with this, and a lot you can do as far as automating the delay itself and then how that works with your vocal track. I like that because I can get a really fast and consistent result from this across a number of genres. So check that out, REPLIKA XT, Native Instruments. My next 2 on the list are Avid plugins, and they will only work in Pro Tools, but I added 2 more for those people who do not have Pro Tools, just so you also get a top 10 list. I know these next ones are for Pro Tools. Stick around to the end. I'm going to give you the one that has changed the way I mix forever. Hang around to the end of the video. So my next one is Avid Pro Compressor. I think they call it Avid Pro Comp. You can get this on the native version or the HDX version. It's $99. If you're gonna have one compressor, this would be my vote. It's a really good, very accurate compressor. I feel like sometimes compressors will lie to me, especially with the attack and how fast it can go. If you do some of your own testing and you're kind of a nerd about that, and you start to get into using compressors for not necessarily the sound, but stuff under the hood, like doing side chaining and like what I was talking about in one of my other videos with snare bleed, go check that out. I'll link it up here. Not all compressors are created equal, and there's a lot of different flavors. If you're wanting something like an 1176 remake, take your pick. There's 100,000 of those out there, or LA2As or whatever, but this is kind of a compressor for the digital realm. It's accurate. You can still get that 1176 sound out of it if you want it, if you know how to set it. You can get a lot of different sounds out of this compressor. For that reason, it's on my top 10 list. It's actually in my favorites under my plugin list, so I can get to it quickly. Next one, Avid Pro Limiter. This one's a little more expensive, $299. It does go on sale all the time. If for nothing else, there's a very reliable set of meters on here, and the limiter itself sounds fantastic. I said earlier, I like the ozone limiters. I don't like their metering. I feel like it's a little off compared to some things, but a lot of times what I'll do is I will put ozone limiter and then use the metering from the Avid limiter, just because it's consistent and I know I can trust it. And that's because it came with Pro Tools for me. If you're purchasing this, take a look at it. If you're looking to get a good limiter with a good meter, this could be the one for you. And it sounds fantastic. There's a lot you can do with it, especially with that character knob. It's really cool. For those of you who don't have Avid, here's my 9 and 10. JST Clip, which is I believe it's $27 right now, Joey Sturgis tones. It is a fantastic clipper. There are some more expensive ones out there and ones that probably can get the job done a little better, but if you don't have anything like a clipper, this should be an easy purchase for you. $27. It could change the way your drums sound. It can change the way your masters sound. But just like anything else, a clipper, if you abuse it, it will abuse you right back. It's gonna destroy your track if you overuse this thing. But if you use it tastefully, oh my gosh, it's a really, really cool plugin. It sounds great. The last one would be Output Arcade. This is an instrument unlike any other virtual instrument out there. When you need something but you're not sure what it is, they're always updating Arcade with different instruments. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's kind of like pre-selected collection of sounds that work together really well. The way it works is you can go through and select kind of a vibe, and they have different kits and loops that you can pick from that are kind of different vibes. And then you can actually play little snippets of them and put them all together. And if you play them all together, they are supposed to work really well with each other and make a sound. This has been a plugin that I feel like I've evangelized to a lot of people, because I got to use this plugin with Output on the beta team. And so I had a really cool look when this first started, and it's taken me a while to kind of get it into my workflow, but it's $10 a month and it is crazy worth it for those really cool sounds and textures that you can add to things in post-production that would take forever to find, because the sounds in this thing are incredible. It's really hard to nail down and say what it is because it can be so many different things. Go download the trial and just play with it and see for yourself. My jaw dropped when I played with it. And if you're wondering like what it sounds like, what types of things you can do, you've been listening to a track throughout this video that I made with this in probably 2 or 3 minutes. That's how cool this plugin is. All right, congratulations. You made it to the end of the video. I told you I would tell you a plugin that I feel like changed my workflow forever. Since I got this plugin, I've put it on every single mix that I've ever done, and it informs mix decisions more than any other plugin I've ever used. And Tonal Balance Control from iZotope. It's just another way to give yourself feedback and something where you can easily get tunnel vision. In my world where I'm mixing for other people and I have references and tracks that they like, tracks that they don't like, I can use Tonal Balance Control to reference those tracks and spit out something that tells me, hey, you're in the area of the sound of this record, or not, from an EQ standpoint. And if you're kind of learning to mix, I mean, all of us are learning every single day, and we all have something to learn all of the time. If you're just getting into mixing, this plugin could really speed up your education and how to learn how to mix, especially when references are involved. If you're recording your own stuff and you have records that you really like, you can upload those too. and see how close you are to some of your favorite songs, and also see where you could improve. It's not gonna make your mixes instantly awesome, but what it does for me is it gets me, when I'm not sure how to balance, especially instruments in the low end, when I'm not sure if I'm overdoing it or underdoing it, I can kind of get that feedback, at least in the context of what the artist already likes. I love Tonal Balance Control. I think if you buy it on its own, it's $199, and I would say that's totally worth it. However, Ozone does crazy sales all the time, and you can get this in a bundle with other stuff for cheaper than $199. But even aside from Ozone, besides Neutron, any of these, Tonal Balance Control is the real cool product that they're selling, and I don't think it gets enough credit for that, and I don't think they even sold it on its own before they came out with Tonal Balance Control 2. You used to be able to only get it in bundles with other plugins, and now they're selling it on their own for $199 because I think they realized what they had and what they actually did. Either way, it's worth it. If you get nothing else, get Tonal Balance Control. Anyway guys, that was my top 10, 12, 13, 14. You got a lot. You got a lot of them there. Go check them out. Go download the trials. That's the beautiful part about some of these plugins. Some of them have trials, some of them don't. The cheaper ones you can pretty much count on not having trials. I don't think you can get a trial for JST Clip, by the way. You don't need one. $27. Go get it. Anyway guys, hope you liked it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And my birthday's coming up, so if you want to give me a nice little birthday present, how about you wrap up that little subscribe button and send that to me. The way you send it is all you have to do is a little tap on it. Anyway guys, I'm Resident Loser Jeremy. I hope you like this. Go check out some of these plugins. Have fun mixing. I'll see you guys next time.